like we're getting started, right?
Oh, okay.
So, oh my gosh, right? So everybody, welcome. So excited. One of my Falcon sisters is here. Just met her for Leadership Las Vegas, right? Class of 2020 into 2021.
Yeah, we'll
into
see.
Whenever, right? So Miss Dionne proper. We'll see if any of her aliases are announced, but hey, please introduce yourself and welcome to Kicking It with KJ.
All right, thanks. My name is Dionne proper, as you just said. I am your Falcon sister. I've been in Las Vegas now. This year will be 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
You're old.
I am not.
So here comes the alias.
You're only as old as you feel. I feel pretty old, I'll be honest. But yeah, I moved here when I was 25 years old.
Oh, you're not old.
Yeah, and I look younger than the number that's on my driver's license. But yeah, we've been here 20 years. Love it. Had 2 teenage daughters, an amazing husband, and yeah, that's me.
Man, that's awesome. Because when we kind of were prepping for the show, and you were talking about like the parent life,
Yeah.
right? And my goodness, because little baby Falcon London.
Yes.
Right. And it was funny. I was reading that last night and I was like, oh, the parent life. Because, we're both parents. Mm-hmm. But, London, we call him AKA cock blocker because, we can't have, parent time.
Yeah. No. You can't have parent time.
Oh, my
at all.
gosh. Right.
Yeah. And then when they become teenagers, now they know about parent time. And it's awkward, but my husband and I we're a fun bunch, and it is what it is. It's a parent time is natural. My daughter once referred to it as, I know you guys are getting friendly in your room. So for a while that was our code word. Time for friendly time
in the bedroom.
So I mean, it's great, but listen, it is what it is. You have a little right now, and probably exhausted anyway.
Man, parent time. So how do your kids So one of the things I struggled with is I haven't been here for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Man, what do you do with your kids? I have an array of them, and sometimes I'm like, man, what's there to do? I mean, I don't want to do Red Rock all the time.
Yeah.
And I think tonight we may go to the Neon Museum. Mm-hmm. But I think that's one of the things that I struggled with. So what did you find that worked for your teenagers?
Honestly, my kids direct that. Like you do get lost and like, what do we do? As a kid, I was a homebody. I enjoyed listening to music. I enjoyed reading books. Plus, I'd been to all the museums in D.C. It's like, been there, done that. I don't need to do that again. But there's so much technology and information out there for the kids. They'll tell you what they're interested in and what they want to see. They know that we are a car ride away from everywhere. So they will ask,
mm-hmm.
Can we drive to California? Can we drive to Utah? Can we fly to Colorado to see Aunt Sherry and Uncle Tom? They will ask those things, but there's quite a bit to do here that's
right.
not, so adult. There's parks, there's sports, and you gotta really find that happy medium on what's available for your teenagers. There's movies. They hang out with their friends still. I didn't have FaceTime as a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't have Zoom as a kid. They're using all this technology to keep themselves.
PBS Zoom, remember?
Yes.
Zoom.
We had phones on the wall that had a 50-foot cord like this that you had to walk out to the front yard to get some privacy.
Yeah.
Follow the cord. Where's Dionne?
Yeah. I'm having a private call. But yeah, they'll tell me when new things are opening, when
She's
new
at the
restaurants.
Air and Space Museum again.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, they'll tell me what's new and what's happening. And hey, do you think we can go here? Do you think we can go there? When my father,
we're having friendly time. Leave us alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when my father-in-law comes to town and my dad comes into town, they definitely use that time to get grandpas to take them places that mommy and daddy are like, oh, I don't want to do that again. Yeah. Oh, you want to go to M&M World again? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Grandpa will be here in a couple of weeks.
Grandpa will take you.
Yes, and Grandpa will take them to M&M World, to Hershey World, to anywhere they want to go on the Strip. There's quite a bit of stuff there for kids to do and enjoy and engage with.
And lots of space now.
And tons of space. So
Yeah, I don't like all the space.
no?
No, I like the vibe when it's super packed on the Strip, and you got all those personalities and characters out there. It's one of the things that attracted me to come in there. But then it's funny, you're right though. But when I found out I lived here, I never went there.
Yeah. You know what? The one thing I'm sad that I missed is when all of the properties on the Strip were closed and everyone was going down and riding their bike along the Strip
nice.
and taking pictures at
Like
night.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I missed that. I honestly, thankfully, I was still able to work during that time, and that was a busy time for me. But driving along the Strip the other day, I was like, dang it. I missed that opportunity because, knock on wood, we don't have that opportunity again.
Right.
I mean, that was the once in a lifetime kind of thing for sure, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we had actually taken a walk. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, like I lived a post, right? And
Yes, I know.
I don't know. There's no secrets with me. They're on Facebook. Trust me.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember, you saw the one where me and the kids went out there and walked when it was totally empty.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we found toilet paper.
Oh my gosh.
On the Strip.
Toilet
Yeah,
paper?
Unused.
Yeah, unused. Well, we picked up some semi-used ones.
Pretty
But
cheap.
Hopefully those were free.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
But I wanted to go back. You were talking about being a mom,
Yeah.
in the teens. And, one topic you want to talk about was surviving marriage, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want to hit on that or elaborate? More prayers. Is that tied to COVID? Is that tied to life? Is that tied to being a parent?
Oh my gosh, all of the above,
Okay.
right? I think the reality of things is, this year, David and I will have been married 18 years, and we dated 5 years before that. And imagine the amount of growth you have as a person, as an individual, over the course of 23 years.
Yeah.
I am probably not the same person he met and fell in love with. So, that's a self-realization there that, we've all grown, and have we grown together? And have we grown together enough? And, how do we maintain that growth and that energy and that positivity as we continue to move forward and have that strong foundation for our kids, right?
Yeah.
Are there going to be some things that we disagree on? Yes. Over
Right.
the course of 23 years, you can change your opinion thousands of times.
Yeah.
Your appearance changes. Your interests change. And change isn't a bad thing. I would say probably more evolve than change, really. And if the other person isn't growing and evolving at the same rate and pace, then you're going to have a problem.
Right.
And sometimes you're at different stages in your life together. And, so that's really tough. Parenting, we parent differently. And you don't know what that's going to look like until the kids get here, and you disagree on something, and you're like, wait a minute.
I thought we agreed.
I thought we agreed. Well, no, we haven't agreed because we haven't really been in this situation yet.
How do you navigate through that during COVID?
Woo. Well, I will tell you, we had one knockdown, drag out day, and it was like we needed to have it. I needed to have my opinion very loudly in the house, and so did David. It was the one time, I don't have a problem with arguing in front of my kids.
Right.
People that say, I never want to argue in front of my kids, is crazy, because then they have an unrealistic view of what life, marriage, and parenting is like.
Right.
So I'm okay to disagree. And this particular moment, I knew I was going to let my husband have it. And I told the kids, I was like, everybody upstairs, I'm going to talk to daddy.
Earmuffs.
Yeah. And it was,
This is not friendly time.
This ain't friendly time. Close the doors, turn your music up, whatever you got to do. It's on right now.
Yeah.
And after we had that discussion, I think we were able to manage in quarantine. But we had to. There was so much tension in the house. Everybody was upset, unsure. My husband was furloughed. I was working like 18 hours a day in the living room. That's where my office is. Everyone tells me I'm really loud on the Zoom and they can't focus on TV or their games on their phones while I'm talking. I don't really
and working.
give a shit about any of that, honestly. So, so it was rough, but just to have that moment of honesty and clarity, and then we were able to move on after that, was great for the entire house. But we also understood that everybody needed to get active.
Yeah.
We were so stuck on the couch and in chairs and on a computer screen, and my kids were doing distance learning, and my youngest, her school hadn't really figured it out too well, and my oldest, her school had, so they were having two different experiences with distance learning. We were just lucky. We had enough rooms in the house where everybody could have their own time.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll tell you. So Lynn made it easy for me, which, by the way, babe, thank you for always supporting me. DC Dionne said she would slap me if I didn't give you a shout out, which
That's
I failed
right.
to. She has a saying that says, "Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?"
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds like lose to me, but it's not, because I want to be happy.
Yeah.
So that means I always take the L.
Yeah.
And so that's just hopefully DC Dave just took the L well.
Yeah. In our house, we're a stubborn bunch, and we would say something like, I want to be both. Like, I want to be right and happy. To Lynn's point, you got to decide, because you're not always going to land on the side of being right and happy.
Right.
And, sometimes you're going to dig in and say, I want to be right because I know I am.
Yeah.
And then that's exhausting.
Yeah. Are you ever right?
I'm never right.
There you go. Happy life.
But
He knows the rules.
I'm working on my third marriage, so.
You're working on it,
Yeah,
or?
well, working towards it one
It's
day.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So I've made it through 2 divorces.
Yeah. Good for you.
I always tell people, right, like the numbers of tries don't matter. Even though statistically it works against you as you go down the road, it's just proven that, you just might be one of those stubborn people that you just can't get along and play well in the sandbox. But I never judged people on that. I'm like, you find that love when you find that love.
Yeah. My mom told me a long time ago, and translated however you want, you got to try on a bunch of pairs of shoes before you buy a pair.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people will translate that to marriages, relationships,
Shoes.
or shoes, which I do. But you have to, and you have to be okay with moving on.
I want to kind of piggyback on that, the whole COVID situation, and just with everything that's going on in the world today, as being a mom of 2 young Black African American ladies. What are your biggest hopes or your biggest fears for them, kind of in the climate and basically the tensions and things that we kind of perceive as what's going on? Is it a perception? What are your biggest hopes and your biggest fears going forward towards their future?
Loaded question. I think biggest hopes, when you have children, when you bring children to this world, your biggest hope is that they don't have to encounter any of the challenges that you've encountered in life. You want them to be protected and covered as much as possible. And, my husband is white, and I don't know that we even decided early on, but we weren't going to make a big deal about us being a interracial marriage and the kids being biracial. They were just Drea and Daria. We weren't going to, it's not a big deal. You're loved kids,
Right.
and that's it. And I don't think, we were doing good with that for a while, and then, what ruins everything is other people's kids.
Yeah.
Everything. And, then they would come home and ask questions like, hey, so tell me about my grandparents, grandpa proper, is this, and, Grandpa Felder is this, like, is that different? And so we're like, okay, well, this Zen world we thought we were bringing our kids into really don't exist. And we have to have some honest conversations with them about race, about perception, about, who is mommy going to have that conversation or is daddy going to have that conversation with you? And it's important to my husband. And I've reminded him recently that I'm not the only one that will address race in the house. It's a joint effort here. But to your question about hope is that, I do want them to be able to, live and succeed in this world as women, not just as women of color. I don't want them to ever feel like, a company was checking a box because they hired them.
Right.
I truly, and they have that mentality of they have to be the best of the best because they want to be seen as the best of the best. They just don't want to be seen as, multiracial, smart, female. They check 3 boxes, so
right.
we'll let her in. That I want them to be comfortable that they are succeeding on merit, and not because they feel like someone was checking a box
or sympathy
or anything like that.
Right.
You don't want them to be called names because of what they look like. You just don't want them to have any negative experiences, but that's also not realistic as a parent, period.
Right. Not
just as a parent of 2 biracial girls. It's just as a parent. You don't want, them to go through any of that. And things have been really tense lately. I think that, they thought something my parents always told me, and I've told my kids, is everybody's not your friend. And unfortunately, they have experienced that a lot. They have built relationships with people that they look at as family. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, right. that person doesn't look at me as equal, really. Social media has really exposed a lot of that. I tell people to use social media for good and not for evil. Apparently that rule doesn't exist for kids, and they use it for evil.
Yeah.
And, we do audits of the phones and social media regularly. And some of the unfortunate language that's used towards the kids is unacceptable.
Unfair.
Well, I think you find, though, those kids that are like that, mm-hmm. all you got to do is look how their parents post. Exactly. Right?
Exactly.
It's taught.
It is taught. It is taught. It is learned. It's not always learned from the parents. I think it's also learned by peers. Right. Bad behavior.
Right.
Like I said earlier, nothing tries to ruin your kids like other kids. Mm-hmm. And some of the music. And listen, I tell them, I'm like, I know. I sound like my grandparents. I sound like my mom. I sound like every parent in the history of parents. But, garbage in, garbage out. If you're listening to crappy music, guess what? Some of your ideations and how you feel and how you communicate, it's going to come from that. Now, I've listened to garbage music my whole life. I'll admit it. But at least it's fun garbage. Like some of the garbage that's out there right now is just so negative and hateful and not even really good. Like, my youngest, she's so excited when I let her sync her phone to the Bluetooth in the car and listen to some of her music. And I'm just like, okay, that is just lazy writing. Like, I mean,
that doesn't even rhyme.
It not only is like, oh my gosh, this song was terrible. And it was just like, oh, cool. We're going to repeat the same word over and over for 3.5 minutes.
Grits.
Yeah. Grits. I'm like, that's just lazy. It's just lazy. I took them to a concert and I was like, I'm going to go buy you guys some merch. And I went and found a bar and sat in T-Mobile. And, I came back. It must have been 45 minutes later. The kids are like, where'd you go? I was like, gosh, there's a line at the merch. It was crazy. Everybody got a t-shirt though. And, I'm just like, you guys have a good time. I'll get you a t-shirt and I'll go have a glass of wine or a margarita or something or somewhere else. But
that's awesome.
I am not listening to garbage. Like I can't handle it. But anyway, I digress a little bit. But, but my biggest fears, unfortunately, have been realized already in some of the communication. I had, my oldest is going to kill me for sharing, but I had 10 girls at my house for her 13th birthday party, and within a month, none of those girls were friends with her, and it was awful because she was sticking up for a kid at school. So they called the kid some names because he was chunky. And I said to her, I said, listen.
Where's the school at?
I know. I said,
I don't go to that school.
Where's the school at?
I told her, I said, okay, were they talking about mommy and daddy? Because listen,
right.
Mommy and daddy are living our best life. And guess what? We're chunky. It's okay.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, they weren't talking about you. But yes, I know it's okay. And it was just a bum move. That's her 13-year-old lingo there.
Right.
And they were like, we're not letting you back into the group until you apologize. And this is my blood here.
I don't need your stinking group.
Yeah. No, she was upset. I said, "Are you upset?" And she cried for about 30 minutes, and then she moved on. And she was like, well, clearly I got to find better friends.
Right. Amen.
Well, shoot, I don't want you to learn that at 13. I want you to, this is supposed to be the fun time.
Right.
And we're just not, that part stinks.
I think we learn, we're constantly learning those lessons, and you find that those who want to do right and good end up being the very, very small minority who are willing to stand up for what's right. And I think it's awesome because it teaches them to be something better, be selfless later in life, So
it's lonely at the top. And listen, I told her, I said, find books, find great music, because sometimes that will be your company.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Or find other folks who have like interests. But, trying to fit a square into a round hole, it never works.
Yeah. So speaking of that, right, I wanted to talk on something that I call mask games.
Okay.
Because that's the new norm, masks, right?
Yeah.
And, I found myself wearing my mask this morning in the gym. Like I had this alter ego.
Yeah.
And especially when my phone won't recognize my face, I was like, wow, that Superman shit really works.
Yeah.
Like one pair of glasses, you can't be recognized, But the less mature side of me finds myself in public making faces at people under my mask because they can't see it.
Yeah.
But I think the Asian side of me will see the...
I'm smiling.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think your funniest observations of masks are, or what do you think people are thinking, right? And I can segue into that, or we can just...
Listen, this is the most interesting time ever. I mean, because if you really think about it, before COVID, BC,
before COVID, I like that.
And it feels like BC, right? So long ago. If you saw somebody with a mask, it was like, what's wrong with you? Or this place is about to get robbed. I got to get out of here. Yeah. I mean, just so many different thoughts, right?
Right.
And as a former retail person, I look at your mask and I feel like I know your personality right away.
Right.
I love seeing the fun masks, and then I see the hospital grade masks, and I'm like, you're no fun. I'm sorry.
You're so boring. What a loser.
Get
out of the
I'm
studio.
going to hide my mask.
Boston fans.
I know, right? No originality there.
Well, see, it starts out clean. Then at the end of the day, it's pretty dirty. So,
well, that's what brought me to that question, right? Because
coffee stains.
Well, no, because the one thing I never ever thought about when it came to masks were, it came to fruition one day when I had eaten some stuff and drank all my bubbly drinks.
Ooh.
And I didn't realize, when you're burping and you got the damn mask on your face,
it is rough in there.
Oh man, I was like, what did I eat? But the best part was one day I did it in the car And then all of a sudden Lynn's rolling the window down in the back, right? I was like, this shit can't keep COVID out. It can't keep my burp in.
Yeah, no.
Right?
It's like a little Dutch oven.
Yes.
It's pretty gross.
It is awful. Yes,
Dutch
I have
oven, I love it.
experienced that myself where you're just like, oh my God. I carry gum with me everywhere now because I don't want to offend myself. Like I didn't have gum before. If you got a whiff of my lunch, whatever, it's on you. But now after lunch, you put that mask on and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awful. So yeah, I carry gum everywhere. I have gum now, but I didn't carry gum like I didn't carry gum like this before COVID. But yeah, the masks, it's pretty interesting, and it's a whole industry right now, right? Yeah. Because I can't tell you, I spent $25 on 3 Golden Knights masks, and in my mind, I was going to share those with my family. Everybody gets a mask and passing them out at home, and they're just like, my family's over it. They're like, we're going to
already got a Raiders mask.
We're good.
We already have. So I
already got a UNLV mask.
Yeah, I rotate my masks, and all, I've got one that I wear that when I wear makeup, because that's a whole nother thing. When you have makeup on and then you take your mask off, and it's like, there's a lot of makeup there.
Well, I take Lynn's mask because I can smell the perfume while I'm at the gym.
Okay.
And I feel beautiful.
Oh, okay. I mean, her masks fit. Your face is a little larger than hers.
It's the boring masks.
Oh.
So we have fun masks, and we have what you define as the boring masks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are one size fit all, I guess.
Oh, man.
That's why they're boring. Just saying. Now, I've got a few, but like, how I don't know if you guys shop online, but I shop online, and now I'm like shopping for masks. Like, really, Dionne, you're shopping. I'm contributing to this, but like, I don't know when we're going to.
That's a hot mask.
Who's under that mask?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you're like, whoa, put that thing back on.
Yeah. Listen, I will tell you though, fellas are still running game behind the masks. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
They are still dropping the worst lines in the history of lines behind those masks.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that I'm smiling under this mask.
Yeah. Or are you smiling under that mask, lady? Or I mean, I had to tell one guy, I was like, listen, we've been in quarantine a long time, and that's the best you got. Like, you need to study up, because that was terrible.
So someone put a post on their best pickup line in COVID, and mine was, "Girl, I'd lick that COVID right off your neck."
Of course, that was your favorite. Why? Yep, that would be
deep.
one.
That's deep, though.
No,
to do that, that's risking your life.
No.
Okay. I don't know. That's the one I picked. That was the best one of all of them. They do the surveys. I was like, yep, I'm going with that one.
No, there's been some bad ones. I get hit on at the gas station a lot. And I've gotten some bad ones. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, so we're gonna go with a little consensus here. Mask when you're driving in your own car?
No,
or not.
No.
I'm gonna go with no.
No. What is the purpose there?
When I had gas, I thought it was protecting me, but now I can still smell it.
Just say
when you
no.
had gas,
Yes.
you take.
I'm the guy who locks all the
always
windows.
Gassy.
Well,
like that's not like a one-time thing.
Only when I'm doing keto.
Only when you're doing keto. No, I bet if I called Lynn today, it'd be like, he's always gassy, isn't he?
Dionne has like
he's always gassy. I'm the guy since '99. He's always gassy.
Dionne has direct access to Lynn, so she's not lying.
Yeah.
So anyway, the consensus is when you're in your car, folks, you don't need to have your mask on.
You don't. See, then I judge you too. If I see you sitting in your car and you've got your mask on, there's going to be some judgment going your way on that too. Like, what are you doing? Well, you're going to asphyxiate yourself in your car while you're driving.
And you're going to hit me.
Yes.
What if it's over your eyes?
Well, that's how most people drive anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Vegas when the lights turn red.
Yeah.
My dad had to learn the hard way. Remember, I was like, Dad, you don't stop on red. There's 3 cars behind you still planning to go.
Yeah.
And
go.
He didn't listen. He got
Don't
rear-ended.
be that jackass. Go.
Oh, man. Okay.
Can I not say jackass? He gave me a look.
You can say jackass.
You
Okay.
can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm starting to learn that we probably got to be more provocative.
Oh, well, you should have told me that like 20 minutes ago.
That's all right. I don't even know how long ago we started. I'm sure Ryan back here will kick the chair and be like, oh, he said we're at 30 minutes. Man.
Yeah, you guys should have told me that a long time ago. Man, we could have had a whole different conversation.
I got
friendly
a
time.
real quick question for Kev before we kind of wrap this thing up.
Does she participate in, or
No.
how does this work?
This is just directly towards you, because I want to know, over the last 20 plus years, you've reached the tip top of the leadership ladder in the Air Force, right? As you start dwindling down your career over the last couple of months, give me an example of when your own core values and leadership were put to the test.
Oh, that's actually really easy, and I can tie that to Dionne, right?
I figured you could. Leadership Las Vegas.
Well, one, Dionne scares me, and I'm a chief, so not much scares chiefs. No, I think what it was when we met, right? We met in Leadership Las Vegas, and you have what's called Gateway, and you have to go through something called SimSoc. And I'm not even sure I'm allowed to talk about this. They may kick me out before I graduate.
Keep it super general.
It sounds pretty
Okay.
like G level 97. We call it SimSoc.
97, so it's simulated society, but you're not allowed to talk about who you are, what you do, and you're presented leadership challenges. So they may present a challenge in leadership that she's an expert in and I'm not, but I'm like, here I am, the leader. And so to answer your question is I learned a whole lot about leadership during SimSoc, as far as like, you don't have to always take the reins, and, you can have a collective group of people that are saying, no, this is how I would look at the problem, or this is how I'd look at it. And we solved it.
Yeah.
And there's a diverse group of leaders in there, and you see the ones who have courage, like, Darius he kind of took the lead on that. And I apologize to him. So it's public knowledge. Hi, Darius. Love you, brother. Yes. And I was like, and I told him, I said, bro, you were just getting on my nerves. You know what I mean? And I snapped at him once. And then we went to volunteer at we went to the Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, because you know what? It takes a lot of courage to take the lead in a group of leaders.
Yeah.
And he did. And I admired him later. And so I think the thing we would learn as leaders is as you climb the corporate ladder, you have to become more humble and open-minded to the fact that leadership is a lot more bigger of a portfolio than what and you get tested. So when it was over with, if you know me, like, I do not fear speaking my mind.
Mm-hmm. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. And Lynn was like, how'd you like it? I said, I felt this big of a leader. And she goes, are you serious? I said, I didn't say nothing. I became very passive because I didn't want to offend somebody, because this group of people, for the next year, you're kind of put on survival island, right? And I said, you grow to love the different leadership styles and techniques that everybody has. So I would say that was the biggest one, is like, leadership in the military is different than leadership in the private sector. And leadership at Las Vegas, while everybody doesn't get to experience that for military, it's a beautiful thing, because you get to experience something and test your leadership skills, right? Like Dionne and all of them have had a chance to meet some of the airmen and mentor them, and it's two different worlds. And so I would say that's what it was, and that's why we do this. Is I think all of us as leaders have an obligation to pay it forward to the younger generations. You know what I mean?
100%.
And we need to have the dialogues. It has to be open-minded. Let me just give a shout out why I love her so much, besides the fact that she's my friend. And we won't go into it because Ryan be like, bro, you're running long. But, I'll be like, hey, well.
F you getting paid.
Flex Wheeler went an hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So the people that I love, everybody on my Facebook for the most part, except for now, as you start the podcast, all of a sudden I'm getting these weird friend requests, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but let's go. Accepted.
Pakistan, yes.
Did you subscribe? Nope. Unfriend. Right? No. But we had gotten into a conversation about when Kobe Bryant had passed, right? And we'd already had conversations. We broke bread as family. Like, if you break bread with my family, you're family, right? And where people are failing today is they're so radical in their mindset that they don't even listen to you. Like, they will passive aggressively insult you with their posts, right? Like Dionne will say, what's the post you put out there? Like, it's like, I'm letting you know.
Real talk,
right? But she'll have a dialogue with you, right? And we were talking about the Kobe thing, and my initial post was like, it hurts me that no one will push an Amber Alert of a missing kid, but they'll memorialize a guy that they don't even know, right? You know, and I didn't have an understanding necessarily of how some of these celebrities impact people's lives. I mean, look, there's Michael Jordan and Derek thinking he's Rocky,
and that
right?
chick over there,
and I don't know who that is, but what I loved I think we came to a consensus.
Yeah.
And I said, what really, throwing me off is this, because I think Amber Alerts are more important because I'm a parent, and I'm like, man, if my son or daughter came up missing, I sure hope my friends would push, right? But I think what matters most is that people who say they care about each other can have two different perspectives and come to a consensus that this is where we agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
And what's ruining stuff are the radical lefts and rights who just won't even listen, And again, I've posted on Facebook where it's like, if you don't like Aquafina water, unfriend me now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, give me a break.
Well, if I have to drink Aquafina water, I'd rather drink that.
I tell people, if you are not interested in an adult conversation and dialogue, then yes, please, by all means, exit stage right. I don't have time for you. But if you are here to antagonize and go back and forth, nope, you got to go.
Yep, with no intent to learn.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. But just so you know, we're not friends just on Facebook. Don't try to see me in the streets and be nicey nice.
All right.
Like that's how it is.
I dig it.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, we ran a little bit over, but it was worth it for you, Dionne. No, don't be sorry. Right. That's what this is all about, and if I think it runs a little long because it's a natural conversation, that's a beautiful thing. Right.
Right.
We probably got to wrap it up in 30 seconds. So if you wanted to be found, where can people find you?
Oh my gosh. It's so easy to find me. I am on Facebook. I love social media. And the kids, I'm on Facebook more than I am on Instagram. So if you find me on Instagram, I'll never be on there, but Facebook, Dionne Proper, spelled just like Dionne Warwick. So those of you over 30 should know who that is.
But put Proper, don't put Warwick.
Yes, don't put Warwick.
Yeah.
Proper with one P. I don't know why I have to say that.
I search for Dionne Warwick.
Just like the word proper, folks. It's not difficult. And on LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me. This was fun.
I loved
Great way to spend my morning.
Barry, you want to take us out? Dub B, I still am not getting used to his stage name. Dub B, take us out of here, man.
All right. Hey, Las Vegas, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week. We'll have another special guest here on Kicking It with KJ. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.